Hi, everybody. We're here at Painter's Soiree today. It's Wednesday, and we are going to be doing a painting. So, thank you for joining us. We're just going to give everybody just a minute or two, just kind of get logged in, and I'll go over some colors, and we'll go over what we're going to be painting today. So, thank you again for joining us. I know it's a super weird time, and we just want to make sure that we have something for everybody to do. Maybe start explaining some colors for the kids, and kind of have something fun. So, all right. Thank you again for joining us. We'll get started here in just a second. So, I'm going to do. I'm going to be doing this painting here. As you can see, try to line it up there on the camera. So we got a moon, opposite side. And then we also have like a little mason jar here. We're going to do a background of a real bright blue sky, a little bit of green, some white, some yellow. Kind of cool. All right. And I'll be able to go back and forth and I'll show you guys the painting as we kind of progress. But I'll show you our color palette here. So we're going to have our primary colors. We're going to have red, blue, yellow, and we have some white. If you guys do have this green is the one that usually comes in most paint sets. It's called phthalo green. It does have a little bit more of a teal tint to it. So it'll get you a little bit of the darker textures, but what I will do also is I will mix us a nice green too. So if you guys only have your primary colors, I'll get you guys an example of mixing those yellows and those blues together to get us a real nice green. And then also what we got going on, I will show you our brushes here. The brushes that I'm going to be using are going to be a big brush. This is going to be just a little fatter than the other ones. A medium brush, and our fine tip brush. And if you only have one brush, that's totally fine. It's not a big deal. We're just going to kind of navigate a little bit. We'll try to use the big brush. If you only have a big one, we can use just the side of it. If you only have a medium brush, it'll just take a little bit longer just to get some of the coverage, but I'll try to slow down just a little bit for you guys in that process if you do have a smaller brush. And then when you guys are doing your paintings, anytime that you guys get your brushes and we're not using them, I'm going to just throw my brush right back into my water, and that'll help us preserve our brushes and keep the paint wet so it doesn't dry and get a little too crusty, just kind of in between our painting. All right. So one little quick shot again here of what we got going on. This little mason jar with some fireflies, 10 million fireflies. And then we also have a moon. So what we got going on is I'm going to start with my biggest brush here, right there. I'm going to saturate this guy in some white. See, I'm just going to kind of get it real globbed on there. And I'm going to start with our moon on the left side. And the way I'm going to place my moon is I'm just going to go about a hand width from the side, about halfway. And I'm just going to do hand width, do a little dot, kind of eyeball the halfway down mark. And now that I got a lot of white paint on there, I'm just going to kind of start making a swirl. And it might be a little hard to see here. You can kind of just see that it's going to look like a little shine right there. And I'm going to kind of just start doing some swirls here to kind of just accentuate the moon rays. I'm going to just work it out a little bit. And this is really going to lay some paint down on my canvas to when I go back with the blue, it'll really help me blend in and get that pretty baby blue on the center, kind of like a glow, and then it'll give me that dark blue on the outside, kind of give it a little bit of dimension here. Kind of just do a couple little swirls here, and it's just to your own preference. If you guys want some big swirls or some little swirls, just have fun with it. There's nothing wrong. You can't make a mistake painting. You really can't. All right, and as I'm kind of going through with the white, now I'm going to dance back and I'm going to keep the white paint on my brush and I'm going to dip it into the blue. And you'll be able to see that there's still some white, some blue, and that's going to be all right. You don't have to really clean it in, clean the brush up, because we are going to blend all these colors together. Kind of utilize every bit of this paint here. And I'm going to start with the furthest corner with my blue, so it'll be the very darkest. And then as I kind of work this direction, I'm just going to work the blue out of my brush until I get to the white and start blending. So this blue is going to kind of keep a little bit of this white in there. Kind of big half circle motions. And I'm really just exaggerating these swirls that I made. As you can kind of see. And it keeps that kind of movement a little uniform. Kind of looks like the lights kind of fading out to this darkest spot over here in the corner. Some dark blue here. And thank you so much for tuning in. We got a donation. We got a donation from Alicia M. Oh, thank you so much. That's going to go right back into this project. Make sure we have any supplies to keep these going. And anything, if you guys can leave some comments and show us some pictures as you guys are going through of your progress, it would just, that is really the highlight of this, is just to get to see how many people are interacting, and just, it's so positive. There's just amazing pictures that have come back, and it just makes it all worth it. So thank you so much. It is so nice just to be able to do a little painting while we got this stuff going on in the world. We're just going to paint ourselves a little section of piece here. And I'm still just using my big brush, and I'm just going straight into the blue. And I have still a little bit of white inside the bristles just from the paint saturation, and you can see the harder I kind of push as I'm going closer to the white. It really gets some of that white to blend with that blue. Gives me that real soft baby blue look. Kind of see right here, coming together. Right. Some more dark blue right here. And the motions I'm kind of doing is like I'm tracing like the outside of a big bicycle tire, you know, just kind of big half C's, you know, kind of get the same shape of a circle, get bigger and bigger and bigger. Ooh. And as I'm going back over this, you can see that with a little bit of blue brush still going over that wet white paint right there, it starts to really blend in and give you a real pretty tone. Real soft color blue. I'm just going to dance around on my palette here. I'm just going back from this blue here that I have. And I just kind of grab a little bit of white, a little bit of white and a little bit of blue. Just going right back in here. Getting some good coverage. Dark blue on the bottom, kind of bring it back into this moon twist here. And just kind of going back in, really bringing out some of these colors here. And as you can see that I laid down the white on there pretty heavily, so when I go back over it with my blue on the brush, it picks up a little bit of that baby blue, picks up the white, really makes that color start to smear around on the canvas, brings it back to life. And as I'm getting a little bit closer to the moon, what I did is I dip my brush in just a little bit of water, and then I make sure that I dab it on my palette, that way I don't get any runs. And it really just waters down the paint that's in my brush. See, kind of see now there's definitely no drips. And now as I kind of go back through, it's going to be a lighter color, not too runny, but it really just starts helping me blend in this baby blue color to the white. Kind of keep these swirls going. And I'll add just a little bit of white onto that portion of it. Big old swirl. Get a little more white. Oh, see, got a little bit of yellow in there, but I'm gonna leave it. I'll add a little bit of light to it or something, make it look like a bug that's like shooting by, flying by real quick. A little white here. Keep going in here. Get this side just a little darker here. Do some blue. Just do a little bit of blue, a little bit of white. Start swirling it back. And you guys can have dark, dark blue. You guys can have purple lights. You guys can have whatever colors you want to work with for your background. Makes them all definitely unique. What I'm going to try to do is just kind of get some of these swirls to be consistent and just chase them out all the way around the background. Start going through here. Holiday spot right there, poking through. Cover that up. And then another little dab of white right here, kind of lighten this section up. I did a little bit of dark blue, and I'm going to try to blend this out. Add a little more white to it. I'm going to do just a little bit of solid white on top of that brush, so it's going to be right on the tip of the bristles. I'll be able to get some of these swirls going. Swirl there. Little accent swirl there. So I got it's got a little murky right around that moon spot. So I'm going to just get my white brush, my brush covered with the white paint right there. just re-accent that moon. So it looks like I got a real good bright spot right there. And you guys can do crescent moons, or waxing moons, waning moons, whatever you guys would prefer. One of the things that I like to do to help me make a circle is I will take the brush and I'll kind of just place it stationary by pushing on it and kind of twist it with my thumb. Kind of do like a little rolling motion like that, kind of keeping the center part pivoted, kind of like a compass. And then it'll get you a pretty close circle. And then if you start small, you could always just go out, build it up a little bit bigger. Looking pretty good here so far. Accent on this one. Get a little dark spot right behind where this mason jar is going to go. And if you guys are painting on canvases or whatever you guys are painting on, send us some pictures. There's all sorts of stuff you can paint on. Cardboard, you can paint on rocks, you can paint on anything. The back of a canvas like Tara did for our birthday one, that was pretty cool. I was pretty impressed with that one that she did. I really like that idea. And if you guys are doing canvases and we paint the tops and the sides, and that really gives it, it's called a gallery wrap. And it looks, so when you hang your painting on the wall, it doesn't need a picture frame because you can see the painting all the way around and it looks like a totally finished painting. All right. Looking good so far. That's in there. All right. So I'm going to take this medium or this big brush here. I'm going to dip it in a water cup. And it is totally okay if your water gets real murky. We just want to make sure that it stays wet so the paint doesn't dry. And I just use paper towel. You can use an old rag if paper towels are quite the commodity. Yeah, just kind of get your brush dried off like that. And I will do a two-parter. So what I'm going to start with is I'm going to start with the phthalo green on my big brush. I'm just going to kind of get the front part of the brush in there. And how I go through with this is I'm going to use the tips of the brush, push just where they're going to get a lot of contact, push and then pull away. And then you'll be able to see that that's going to give it that top portion where you'll be able to see the bristles. And that's going to really emulate the blades of grass. And as we kind of do the layers and layers, you'll be able to go over to yellow, a little bit of green, and really able to see those grass blades kind of start poking through. I'll start adding this to our canvas. So green with the big brush. I'm just going to start from this bottom right side. Start bringing these brush strokes up like this. And as I start from the bottom, I'll push firm and then pull away as I get to the top, kind of like flicking it up, kind of like I'm taking my paintbrush and pointing it to the ceiling. And if you guys are painting flat, you can just take your paintbrush like you're pushing it away from you and you want to point across to somebody. Across the table, just kind of like that technique, and it gives you the same thing. So you guys can kind of see how that really looks like grass. And I'm just going to bring this green all the way up the side so I have a nice little spot for my jar to sit on. And if your background's not totally dry yet, that is okay. It'll just blend in some really nice colors with the blue. It'll give it some texture, and it'll also kind of look like you can see the sky behind the grass. You know, kind of give it those three-dimensional, realistic look. I'm just going all the way across that bottom portion. And what I'm going to kind of do as a reference for measurement is I'm going to just go about my hand width from the bottom. So I'll give myself a little guideline mark. Can help you guys follow along. Make sure I don't get too wild with my grass there. I don't want to go too low or too high, so kind of start planning it out. And again, I'm just dipping the top of my brush just into the paint, just like that, just like this. That way the paint stays on the very tip of the brush. And then as I keep flicking it on there, it starts coming up. And I'm gonna add a little bit with my green on there, just gonna just barely, just kind of tap it into the yellow. As you guys can see, it's heavier on one side than it is on the other. I'm going to put the heavier yellow paint side on the canvas, and I'm just going to start fading these up. Same thing, just a little dip in the yellow, right on the tip of the brush. And these will just add a couple little spots of highlights. Looks like the light is bouncing off the side of the grass blades. Yellow on here again. Sounds like our puppy's trying to paint along too, huh? So I'm just doing the same thing, running over this with the yellow and just kind of lightly grazing this green. Get some of the heavier spots out. And I'm gonna work from the top and I'm gonna go down. So I really like this little guy. These ones right here. I'm just gonna kind of keep adding as I'm gonna go across to the bottom. And if you guys don't have phthalo green, what we can do is I could just do a little bit of yellow and a little blue, as you guys can see right here, and you guys can mix it. You guys can get a green that way too also. And if you wanted to make it a brighter green, add a little yellow, a little darker green, you could add some more blue. And any bit of green is just gonna add a whole lot of nice texture to it, so it'll be able to, looks like there's just different spots of grass, got some more water on it, a little green, a little blue. Little yellow there, spots here. Phthalo green, I'm gonna go back again with this dark green in this corner here. So this kind of matches the contrast. So this will be my real light side, and this will give me my dark side right here. I'm going to go back and forth, and I'm going to try to get a little bit of texture in this. So I'm going to go with the phthalo green. I'm also going to go back with that green that we made just a second ago. And that'll kind of really help me break up this green blob on the bottom for the grass. And the same technique for the grass. I'm just kind of pushing firmly and then lifting it away as I'm going back up through. You can see how it gives that kind of grass blade line. You really kind of see it start to come through. Old Mort the dog trying to join the party. He was barking. All right. If you guys have seen on the Painter Soiree page, there's the little puppy that's painted on the bag. He kind of grew into a full-size dog, but that's the guy making all the noise out there. I'm just kind of bouncing back and forth, and I'm really just keeping the paint on the tip of the brush there. Kind of just adding a little more green and a little yellow. You guys can kind of see like that. What my brush is looking like. It gives me all this different texture. Just kind of continue this phthalo green to the bottom here. Pull these grass blades up. So as I'm getting closer to the bottom, I'm kind of just tapping my brush. That way I don't kind of pull. So I'll show you. If I pull it across, you guys could see that the grain of the brush is still kind of there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to eliminate that by just kind of tapping. And you can't really see the brush strokes. And it still gives it that kind of illusion that it's got some texture to it. As we're kind of going through, let me see here. Dark green. Just another little spot here. Bring this up. It's a bit of a dark spot. Line him up. This will be my dark side. Dark spot, dark green on there again. All right. Really starting to come together. All right. Now let's just give this just a second to kind of dry. It takes a couple minutes. Spots I can touch here. On this side. Dark spot right there in that corner. Oh, a little bit of that naked canvas poking through. Just kind of cover that up. A little holiday spot. That is our background. If you guys are having any issues with it drying, you can always take your paper plate, just like a fan. Just a little bit of airflow kind of helps it dry out. So the next couple things I'm going to do here, I'm going to take my smallest brush and I'm going to start doing some of these little tiny flowers. And what I'll start with is I'm going to do the red flowers first, and I'm going to kind of bounce around where all the red flowers are going to be. And then I will go back, add a little bit of white to get some of the these little rose patterns. And then when I go into the yellow, I'll do all the little yellow leaves and flowers. That way you don't have to clean your brush so much. So I'm just going to start with the my smallest brush here. Just on just the tip of it. I don't want to kind of get the whole brush in there. I just want to make sure I can kind of control how much paint I'm going to be using. And then we'll start with a couple of these small flowers. This bottom left side. And for these rose style ones, I'm just going to do a little bit of a swirl. Kind of plant a couple of these swirls here. And then a couple of the ones that kind of appear like this are a little bit more of like a tulip style. So what I will do is I'll kind of keep the paint on the tip of my brush, but what I'll do is I'll kind of just lay my brush down on the side and kind of make like a little bit of an upside down triangle, but I'm going to just kind of leave a little bit of the petal showing so the top won't be totally flat like a triangle. Give it a little bit of texture. And then as I'm going through, I'm just going to take with my little brush in my red one, I'm going to just dip it into the white. So I still have red on my brush, and just on the very tip of the brush I have the white, and that'll help me swirl in a little bit of texture, these guys. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of hit all of them and then go back into the white. Now this one has the heaviest white, and that one was almost my last one I did. So now I'll start with this one, the white, and I'll go back through. And I'll make this my last one. And you can start to see some of these colors blend in together, giving you little highlights, and they look like flower petals. this one right here. While it's all blended in my brush, I'm just going to kind of got these little tulip spot ones. That'll be it for my red flowers. Now I'm going to rinse my brush out. Let me just dip it in my water. Take my paper towel and dry it off there. You guys can see like that. And then I'm going to go with just the yellow. So I'm just going to dip it into my real bright yellow. And I'll be able to add the center to this flower there. I'll be able to add a little more flowers here. And as you guys are painting, you'll be able to take up some of your background. It'll be still a little bit wet in some spots. This one has a little bit of the green blending in it. I'm just going to keep going over it, getting that shape that I like. I'm just doing like, kind of like a little asterisk. So I'm just kind of taking it like this. Kind of like that. And then just kind of making them even as I'm going through. Kind of keeping the center there. Then you can just add your yellow. Just like that. Add a couple of those flowers over here. I'm gonna hide one kind of hanging off the side here. So just see a couple petals looking through. But when you're walking up to the painting, you'll be able to see this one right on the side. The yellow. I'm gonna do a couple of these tulip style ones. Kind of using my paintbrush while pointing up again, just making a little similar shape. I think the next flower we can do, once you are content with the yellow flowers, I think we can do those white daisy style. I'm going to add one more just right here. Small. And then also, while I have my small brush and my yellow, I'm going to do our fireflies. The cool part about these fireflies is they are just going to be a little bit of yellow swirls. And then when we get you our final little highlights on it, we will just kind of tap the center of that firefly with the white. Kind of look like it's got a spot. So I'm going to do two here, kind of like where they're going to be in my jar. And they don't have to be pure yellow. They could just, they'll blend in with a little bit of the background. Mix a little bit of the green in there, that's all right. It's really just going to kind of look like there's a little bit of swirl. Four. Right here, yellow. Now I have a little bit of purple kind of coming through here. Kind of looks like lavender a little bit. So I will just do a little bit of blue on my small brush. Just do a little bit of blue, a little bit of red to make that purple. Just a small, small amount. It looks like these are just a couple of highlights in here. I got this purple made. I'm going to use it like this. I'll show you. I'm going to take this purple. I'm just going to kind of do little dots, kind of just a little bit like this. Kind of real sporadically. And that'll give you kind of like this little texture here. Yeah, and just taps, just light little taps with a little bit of the brush, a little bit of paint just in the tip of the brush. We're going to add those just right here, just a couple of them. Just little dots with the smallest brush and just kind of keep tapping away. Here. And when you guys are going over this, it's all right if some of that purple mixes in with the green, mixes in with a little bit of the flowers next to it. That's just how Mother Nature is too. Everybody's working together. A little bit more of this purple here. Little dots there. Right. Little spots in this corner, just make it a little fancy. I'm just going to make this full of flowers, pretty flowers, something really nice to look at. And I got those little highlights in there. I'm going to go rinse this off here. I'm gonna rinse the purple off the small brush, and then I'm just gonna go into the white for some of those little daisies. That'll be just this one here, that one there. And this one's only got the bottom part done as a flower. Kind of look like it's kind of pulling back a little bit. So try to copy that one. I really like that. One more full petal flower. Do one of these right. And then just a little bit of touch of yellow. I'm just gonna stab the middle of that guy and the top of this one. All right. I think that's going to be pretty good for our flowers there. Hey guys, ready for the jar? We shall try the jar. So to kind of get that glow to where it'll look a little transparent, I'm going to take a little bit of my white and just a little dab of green here on my paint palette here. I'm going to make that spot right there. This will be my jar color. And I will only dip in this little color here for my jar, so it'll look real consistent with that color. And I made like a kind of like a light green color right there with the white in there. Kind of get some of the extra paint off the brush. Mix it. And I'm gonna try to do some hand measurements for you guys. So I'm just gonna kind of lay my hand here. So I have my fireflies coming out of my jar. They're kind of in the sky. I got these two ones here. So I want to kind of angle my jar like these fireflies kind of escaped. You know, like they might have flown in the jar for just a second and kind of flew back out. So I'm just going to give myself a little dot there and a little dot there. And I just use kind of like my fingers, kind of just pointing out that way, and I just did the width of my fingers, just about the same plane across there. And I'm going to do two more dots, just a little bit lower. So I'll go about the length of my hand right here, and the length of my hand. Now we'll just connect the dots here. And I'm going to use, you can use anything. You guys can use a ruler, you guys can use a pencil, you guys could use a size of a piece of paper. I am going to use one of my other paintbrushes. And this is just going to kind of give me a guide. So I have a little light dot right there, a little dot here, one right there, one there. So what I will do is I'm just going to lay my brush that I'm not using, dot to dot right there, just to kind of give myself a straight guideline. And it doesn't have to be perfectly straight. It's going to look like it's some lights going through it. This other one. And as I'm using this green color here, the real light green, I'm kind of going to let it run out of my brush. You know, see how you kind of get these little holiday spots where the this green isn't really totally covering, it's going to give it a little bit of that transparent look, like the light kind of went through the edge of the glass, bent the light, and then you could still see some of the nature right behind it. Then for this next spot, I'll kind of even these up a little bit. I'm going to just go a little bit higher than the top of this and just kind of give it like a little bit of a curve. Just like I kind of trace the edge of my finger, just a little dent. You know how like the top of a spaghetti jar is, old mason jar mugs. Go back to the screen a little bit. And now that I have these two reference points here, I think a good half circle might be the edge of my plate. Let's give that a shot here. I'll just trace the edge of my. I like that. That's going to work out all right, I think. That'll be all right. A little white in here. And I'm just going to kind of use my paper plate and just kind of go down, and it'll keep those same curves here as I'm going across. You can really see those highlights get them to match. Just going with a little bit of white. Highlight the edge of this jar. And without having to dip back in the water, I'm just going to bring that white across, just like here. I'm going to use a little bit of white just on the edge of my smallest brush, just like that. The back side of this jar. Look like the jar is open on the top. That illusion there. Right, kind of give it that transparent look. Yellow on the brush. One accident, but that's all right. I'm going to add another firefly in there. Instead of rinsing it, I'm just going to keep rolling with it. And that little green, just kind of lighten up that green that we made. And that's going to be like our base color, I guess. You can call it. And then I'm going to add white right to the highlights. A little more white, and I'll make this little edge a little more predominant. There you go. Now, one of the really neat things about this painting that I really like is that there's a little bit of splatter, if you guys can see here. Just real light. Just kind of a little bit of splatter there. So how I'm going to emulate that is I'm going to take my biggest brush once it's all rinsed out. And you can see it. Nothing's really coming out. There's no water. It's not leaving anything on my hand. I'm going to use just the flower colors that we used. I'm just going to use a little bit of red, just like that. Get it on the tip of the brush. And now you guys can do a couple of techniques. You guys can put your finger out like this and kind of tap your finger. Now when you do that, you want to be real close, just short little taps. And that'll give you, oh, not too close, or you just tap the brush on there. You want to do short little taps, and that'll look like flowers that are in the distance. And if you don't mind getting messy, which makes this a little bit of fun, you can just use your thumb on the top and pull it back. Gonna see how it gives it that flinging motion. I'm just gonna do a couple of those. Oops. There we go. Those ones. I'm gonna switch right over back to the yellow too. So just a little couple of red splatters, a couple of yellow splatters here. Just for a little bit of effect there. Kind of gives it that wondrous look. All right. Now back with my small brush again. I'm going to take just the white, just on the white there. Roll it around. And it's going to be pretty heavily coated, but what I want to do is I want to make sure that when I just give it a tap, it deposits a nice little white dot on all these fireflies, and that'll look like the source lighting to kind of give these fireflies that little ambiance, you know, like they're kind of floating around in the beautiful night sky. And I'm going to kind of muddy up these ones just a little bit by giving them a little swirl in that white, just because it's inside the jar, you know? So if there was light inside of a jar, with the curvature of the jar, it would really kind of reflect all the light a little bit and kind of give it a little, not so pure source, you know? All right. And then there are a couple of stars up here. You guys are able to see those. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my medium brush, also going to take my small brush, but I'm going to take my medium brush first. Dip it in the end of my paint. And this will give you those real round dots. It'll be a dot that is just nice and solid. You won't be able to see any bristles or brush marks. It just dots right on there. And if you guys want to use small dots, you guys can use your smallest brush. You guys can do big dots. We can add a star cluster in here. All right. It looks like Ursa Minor. Do the little dipper. And then I'll also add just a couple to this opposite side here. And I'm going to do it in the darkest spots of the blue so it'll stand out. Kind of see my heavier blue spots there. And just some over the white too. And now for the next little spot, and we're just about done, just about done here. So we have the background, we have the moon, we did some grass blades, we did some flowers, did a little bit of splatter paint. I got a little overzealous on the red. And then also going to do a little bit of lettering inside this jar. Now you guys can write whatever you want. It could be a single letter, it could be a word. You can write love in cursive like Tara did. And I think I'm going to write hope. I think hope is going to be a good word. I think that's what we all need right now. So I'm going to do a little bit of that green that we used to make the jar, a little bit of white just to kind of revive the color. It did sit on my palette for just a minute so it dried out. But I'm just going to trace, kind of fit it into this here. And I got it with all the white. I'm just going to kind of lighten it up with that green that I got. Got the color on my brush. I'm just going to kind of add the rest of whatever I got in my brush. Anyway, highlights. Highlight some of these flowers. Really just kind of have fun with it. Here, white highlights here. Some flower maybe. This kind of flower. So what I did, I accidentally bumped my painting right there. That is all right. Make it a flower. No mistakes. It just kind of makes it prettier. You can never have enough flowers. Highlights here. All right. One of the last things we do, any of our paintings, you gotta sign it. You gotta sign your painting. There's a sign line here in the corner. I'm gonna put one up again. All right. So that is the end of our paint palette. You can see where we got all our colors, made quite a bit of a mess, but so much fun. So we were able to make some green with our yellow and our blue, made a little bit of purple with our red and our blue. We added this color here we did with our green, phthalo green and our white, and we just made a little spot like that on our palette. And we just turned this paint into that painting. We couldn't have done it without you guys. So thank you very much. Thank you for your guys' donations. They go straight back into the painting for the supplies, paintbrushes. That way we can keep this going for whoever wants to watch it. And we'll leave it on our Facebook page that you guys could go back and replay it, pause it, and share it if you'd like. And send us some of your photos if you guys would like. And it just warms us up in this kind of crazy time in the world where we're all coming together. We're showing the world how humanity can be. It's a wonderful, wonderful time. We can just come together and make the absolute best of it. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We appreciate you guys coming and painting with us. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 12 o'clock with a new painting. I think Tara's going to post the Eventbrite shortly so you guys can check in, and we will leave this here for you. Get you guys. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow.